There's you know, you just have to laugh because it's a joke.
Somewhere in the chaos, somewhere in the back and forth and the swaying and the thinking you're okay and then thinking you're not, there's a refinement there. You know, you finally start to unpack things and, you know, maybe get a bit of clarity. And instead of just making decisions, you start to think about what it is that motivates your decisions, what it is that motivates your choices. How do you gather information? Do you do it in a healthy way? Do you treat people right? Do you treat yourself right? Are you fair? Are you patient? Are you allowing yourself to be wrong? Do you give people the opportunity to express what it is that they're feeling without throwing in your 2 cents of how this is such a relatable thing because of some situation that happened to you that sounds remotely similar, you know? Do you give people the opportunity to vent without jumping on problem solving? Or do you actually give people a chance to consider a more logical approach without just talking about the emotional side of things the whole time? If there's one thing that I can say about the breakup that I'm going through or have gone through, still dealing with, whatever, if there's one thing that I can say about that, if I'm saying anything, is that it created room for me to really see who I was, and has given me numerous opportunities to consider and reconsider who it is that I can be. So, you know, it's bad, but it's not all bad.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, if you came here for like a story time or like drama and all that stuff, like, you know, you can probably exit stage left because that's not what this video is about today. However, I do encourage you to stick around and just like, you know, hear me out. I'm just here to talk about the situation that I was in, but less about what happened and more about what I did afterwards to heal, because I think I've been getting message after message after message, kind of like, oh, we saw you went through this thing and I'm going through this thing. How do I move on? How do I heal from that? So that's what this video is gonna mostly be about. It's actually, that's all it's gonna be about. I don't want to focus on any external issues, just because I don't feel like it's my place to speak about some of the things. And then also, you know, a lot of it is private, but I do want to put it out there. I don't know, like my process, what I did, like all these things. I don't know why I looked at my hand. You're just gonna look at my hand, okay? Yeah, so let's get into it. So basically, I was dating someone. This is someone who I had been like romantically involved with since I was a teenager. We had fallen out, then we'd get back together, and then we'd fall out, and then we'd get back together. And at every step, obviously, we were both growing in our own ways, and I had, you know, done my own healing. I thought they had done their own healing. Within the relationship, I was okay. Like I thought that we had a very solid relationship, kind of like a healthy relationship. I just don't think that mentally they were okay, because I had also encouraged them to seek help, and I was trying to be helpful, because this was like my best friend. This was someone who my family knew, my like extended family. This is someone who had been involved with my life since, you know, for 10 years essentially. And so it was very, very difficult to kind of process. Jasper just sneezed. Jasper is my cat, by the way. I'm gonna do a video about that, so you guys should check that out. That's gonna be the next video. Anyway, so he cheated on me. I found out. I immediately blocked all contact. A lot of the time we think that we need closure, you know, we need to talk it through, we need to, but this is someone who basically betrayed my trust. When someone betrays your trust in that way, I don't think that you're obligated to then engage them. I also had to ask myself, what answers did I actually want to hear? You know, because sometimes when we, especially with my trauma, sometimes I ask myself, if I went to this person and I asked them why did you do this? Why did you hurt me? A lot of the time their answers, or the predictive answers or whatever I think they would say, would never be enough. It would never be enough. So no matter what they said or no matter what they did, it would never be enough to cover up what they had done, essentially. So I had decided, nope, this is not me. This is not the type of relationship that I think I deserve. This is not the type of treatment that I know I deserve. So I immediately cut contact. The first day I was like, oh my gosh, you know, like it was like kind of like a panic. And that was the first day, and after a couple of hours I was like with my cousins, we were laughing, we were talking about, like, you know, how tricky, you know, the male species can be, and we were talking about that, and I genuinely at that point was feeling semi-okay. And I think the only reason why I was feeling it okay is because I knew that I was not at fault. I definitely felt hurt. And I actually had to stay at my cousin's house for a bit because I couldn't trust myself being alone. Essentially, when I was alone, when I finally went home and I was alone, that's when I had like the breakdown. So this incident happened in July, and it took me about a month of like mourning. And this relationship is a lot different from what I did in the past. In the past, you know, I'd be checking your social media, I'll be asking myself why, you know, I'll be watching videos, you know, just trying to find answers. But this time I really sat with the feeling, I really sat with the hurt. I didn't try to push it away. I said, you know what, you hurt me and I'm just gonna feel through this. And so I really mourned, and like that for like the first time when I was alone, I was just bawling, like I was not okay, you know. And I was lucky enough to have like friends and family who were like willing to come and make sure that I, you know, was okay. So I was still doing like my spiritual work, and I was still doing my rituals. I was trying really hard to pull myself out of that hole, especially because part of my trauma response is to feel abandoned. And so for a long time I had this fear of abandonment, this fear of being alone, not alone, but fear of being left behind. I had that. And so I think therapy, shout out to my therapist, actually. Shout out to my therapist, because working with her really set the tone for how I was able to handle this relationship. Because you know, sometimes I would go through a breakup and it would take me like a year or like months to get over this. But the fact that it took me a month to feel done, to feel like I did the work, was just amazing to me. That's why I really wanted to share this, and I think that it's important for me to put it out there, because I had suggested it to people, like, would you want to know? And so that was the thing. So yeah, no, I definitely cried over it. I definitely like sat with it. I just tried my best not to ignore how I felt, because a lot of the time when we are talking about how we feel, how we feel. Sometimes we'll say, I shouldn't feel like that, or it's silly for me to feel like that. And the truth is, your feelings are real. Your feelings are real, and just because you cannot feel them or visibly see them doesn't make them not as real as something that's physical and tangible. So we need to acknowledge those feelings first, and acknowledge the hurt. Acknowledge the hurt and sit in it. And that also was helpful for me to be able to let them go, because a lot of the time, I think in the past, yeah, girl. Hello? In the past, I had held on to the memories that I shared with that person. I had held on to the more exalted qualities that that person showed me. I would hold on to the feeling that they get. Ooh, someone texted me. Okay. The feeling that they gave me in the happier moments. And when you practice mindfulness, when you start doing meditation, once you start getting it more in tune with your spirituality, you start becoming more in the present, and you take people as they are in the present. And so that's exactly what I did this time, was judging that person based on what they did at that time, at that exact time, and not focusing on what they had done in the past, what they'd done for me, how great it was, all those things. I had to let them go, because I can't. But then I think also just expressing gratitude for those moments as well was really helpful, to just say, look, it was a really nice relationship to be a part of. I'm, at the time, I was happy to know him. Now I am also grateful to be away. And in a way, someone actually asked me to talk about how it felt spiritually, and I think I was highly protected. I do not think that my guides, I do not think that the universe would have allowed me to find out about the cheating if they were not protecting me from continuing on. I would rather know and make my decision based on that than to be continuously lied to and betrayed. So I took that perspective, as opposed to the one that focuses on, oh my gosh, there's this bad thing that just happened to me, how will I took it as, what, this was entirely necessary, because this was not what was right for me. This was a test of how much I was willing to put up with, how much I was willing to put up with, and the value of and valuing my own worth. I'm not a good speaker, guys. When I'm on the fly, I am just like, I did ask some of my mutuals to send me questions if they had any, so I'm just gonna go through these questions, and we're just gonna talk through them. I think they're very valuable. I think that there's a lot of insight in these questions, and I love that. So the first one was not internalizing someone's BS and reaffirming your own worth through the understanding that none of this was your fault, and some cheating is not a reflection of you, it is a reflection of them. That is not a question. It's not a question, but it's great to know, and it's good to acknowledge, because that also helps, that type of mindset also helps you with any traumatic issues. If you are a victim of something that is very traumatic, that type of reasoning can also help you to heal in that process, to understand that it is their action, nothing that you do. It is entirely separate of what you have done, okay? That is their decision. They made that choice to do those things, and that makes them in the wrong. I just did a spit take. Okay, anyway, that makes them in the wrong and not you. And so that helps you with, blaming yourself, things like thinking that you did something to provoke that person to treat you a certain way. That is not the way it works. Okay, I'm just here to tell you that's not the way it works. If someone does something like that to you, that is on them, that is not on you. The choice that you make after that is on you. Okay, whether you take them back, whether you you know, spiral into something else, that is your choice. But the action itself is entirely theirs, and I think it's really important to know that and make sure that you really understand that in your spirit, because sometimes you can understand it up here and it makes sense logically, but if you don't feel it for yourself, it's very different. All right. Oh, someone asked about maintaining self-love through pain and hurt. So the way that I maintain self-love through pain and hurt essentially is nurturing and mothering myself. Being able, it's literally the tiniest things. Being able to go to work, being able to shower, being able to feed myself, sleeping on time, drinking water, like small little things to make sure that your bases are covered. Okay, that's how you're going to start the foundation of self-love through your pain, because as long as you're doing those little things, you're gonna feel a lot better afterwards. I know this for a fact because I had to do it, and I've had to do it on several occasions. So don't think of like self-love in this context, in the context of pain and hurt. Don't think that you have to project and do all the extra stuff, that you need to like dig and do too much. Don't think that you need to do too much. Do the little things. That is self-care. That is self-love, is being able to take care of yourself even when you are in pain. Okay, so yeah, that's my answer to the question. Okay, staying firm and letting go. Staying firm and letting go. That one is a very, very difficult thing to do, because sometimes you'll be tempted. You'll be looking at your contacts. You're like, maybe I should text them. Maybe I should like look at that social media. Maybe I should do this. Blah, 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 blah. Again, it all ties back to your worth and what you think you deserve. Because once you open that channel, it then gives that person the space to make excuses. It gives them the space to justify how they treated you, and that in and of itself is just terrible, and that's not what you want. So when it boils down to it, you definitely need to think about, what do I want? If this is what you want, then you're gonna go back, okay? But if it is not what you want, then like anything, literally like anything, you need to sit in it and make a decision. You cannot be indecisive in moments like this. Do not be indecisive about your health, because people don't understand that cheating can physically, mentally derail you. It's literally someone attacking your health, essentially, because you go into, especially people with mental illness, you go into a state of depression or anxiety or panic. You know, I had multiple panic attacks over this. This is not a joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is very, very serious. And so, that being said, you need to be firm with letting go, because if you leave the space, okay, let's go back to this. Let's go back to staying firm as well. You also have to understand that cheating is calculated. Cheating is a calculated measure. It's something that someone is doing with intention. Someone is deciding that your feelings, your health, your livelihood does not matter. That is their decision. They're not cheating. It doesn't matter. Oh, I was not happy in the relationship. I just have these issues from my past. Blah blah. It does not matter. Those are all excuses. Entirely excuses. Okay. I even talked to his stepmom, and his stepmom was trying to make excuses for him. By the end of our conversation, she actually told me that I would find someone that is worthy of me, because she understood, because I broke down my position and I broke down why it's so important to me to stand in what I desire. I love peace. I'm a very peaceful person. At least I hope I am. I think I am. I like my peace. And when you disrupt that peace, I've just been through so much. I've been through so much in my life. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it at that point. You know what I'm saying? I hope you guys know what I'm saying. I don't have that much time to do a full breakdown and answer everyone's questions, but I will say this: cheating is not okay. It is detrimental to someone's health. It's not okay. And you need to, if you're going through something like this, or you've been through something like this, it's important for you to know that it is not your fault and it is entirely on that person. I'm so proud of myself for being able to get through this, and I'm really grateful for everyone's support. And please comment and subscribe. Yeah, that's it.
I think she's in a great space right now. I mean, she is the epitome of we move. You know what I mean? 2020 has been a really, really wild ride. So I think everybody's perception of time is kind of wonky because every week it's something. So I keep forgetting that it actually didn't happen a really long time ago, but it seems like it did, because we don't even talk about it anymore. She really has let go, and she's really rerouted all that energy that she was spending on her relationship, and she was spending on trying to recover from the breakup, on just self-improvement. There's a lot of focus on some of her passion projects that she wants to pursue. There's a lot of focus on obviously her business, Moonlit Bass. There's a focus on her creating a nice little comfortable home for herself with her pet. She has a cat now, which I still haven't met, which I can't wait to meet. Yeah, but she's definitely, she took her lessons and she kept moving, which is the best thing anybody can ever do. I think this really taught her that sometimes you experience setbacks and you really need to equip yourself with the skills and the emotional intelligence to be able to deal with those setbacks as they come, and to let go of what you need to let go of, if it's if it's the best for your well-being. So she's grown in leaps and bounds. Honestly, it's like she's not the same person as she was a couple of weeks ago and a couple of months ago. And we really love to see it. It's really, really admirable. I'm so proud of her. I'm so inspired by her. I think there's a lot of people who could definitely take some lessons from how she's approached this situation. Yeah, it's been really cool to see.